Alleluia, Alleluia. Jesus preached the gospel of the kingdom and cured every disease among the people. Alleluia, Alleluia.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A proclamation of the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus entered the synagogue. There was a man there who had a withered hand. They watched Jesus closely to see if he would cure him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. He said to the man with the withered hand, "Come up here before us." Then he said to the Pharisees, "Is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath rather than to do evil, to save life rather than to destroy it?" But they remained silent, looking around at them with anger and grieved at the hardness of heart. At their hardness of heart, Jesus said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and his hand was restored. The Pharisees went out and immediately took counsel with the Herodians against him to put him to death. My dear brothers and sisters, the Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
And as we mentioned last week, we were talking about this, and I think earlier Monday also, we were talking about how this early part of the gospel would show us that first fundamental conflict between Jesus and the religious authorities. It was about the breaking of the Sabbath, so that was their big issue against the Lord, So here, so given that context, first, I'd like us to look at this not just as a legal, in quotation marks, a legal battle. And then, number two, coming from that first point, that the legalism or the legalistic attitude of the Pharisees was really because of self-interest and self-preservation. Then the third and final point is that you realize that in the end, the Lord's main message was compassion. So the third point. First about not just a legal battle. When you look at it, it was really a question of core values. They were arguing core values. It was not a question of the law. In fact, the Lord said, is it lawful to do good or to do evil on the Sabbath? Is it lawful to save lives or to destroy it? So the Lord frames it, that he says the law, what is the meaning of the law? So he goes back to core values. It is really more an ethical conflict between Jesus and the Pharisees. Here Jesus explains what the Sabbath is, and yet the Pharisees and the beautiful line, the Lord said that when they did not answer, the Lord was angry and he grieved over their hardness of heart. And for me, that shows you it is an ethical conflict. And then related to this, the second point is that the legalism of the Pharisees was nothing noble. It was really self-preservation. It was really protecting their self-interest. Remember that eventually that would be the Lord's. Remember when we get to the woes of the Pharisees, especially in the Gospel of Luke, he criticizes their hypocrisy, that they hide behind the seemingly self-righteous, but in the end it was self-preservation. It was really to protect their interests. So they were, from the beginning, you realize they were very scheming. Remember, this is chapter 3 of Mark, very early on in the ministry of the Lord. They're already scheming how to trap him. And there you realize that, and then at the end of the gospel, immediately they plotted with the Herodians, who were not their good friends. But you see that the self-interest, really the evil and the malicious thought of the Pharisees, nothing noble. And then here you have the Lord now, showing what it is all about. It's all about the mercy, and compassion of God. And in the midst of that opposition, he knew he was going to get into trouble. He chooses mercy. He chooses compassion, and he tells the man, "Stretch out your hand." And we need to remember that here you see now how Christ, because of his compassion, is able to endure the pain and the suffering of others. Remember what we said? That in the end, for us to be merciful and compassionate, for us to be able to love, we must be vulnerable. We have to choose to be vulnerable to others, in the sense that we will allow them to touch us. We put our defenses down. And that is what will allow us to be compassionate, to be merciful, and ultimately to be loving. So today, as we reflect on this gospel, no, let us examine ourselves. No, what are the core values that we really live, by which we live our lives? No, especially in our relationship with others, and especially in our relationship with what we have come to know as the last, the lost, and the least. No, the poor and the disadvantaged. No, are we compassionate? Are we vulnerable to them? Do we allow them to move our hearts? That will also, as Cesar Benaventura said, to galvanize us into action, no? In order to help those who have less in life. No?